Alright, hello, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video here. So, um, we have details. Finally, they are actually posting them. I did only go by real quick there because I don't want to, spoil myself here. We're going to be breaking down, Kid Buu and Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, it was pretty obvious these guys were going to EZA like a week ago, or however many days ago it was at this point, like 5, something like that. They said in I believe it was the New Year sort of like thank you letter thing they put out that they were going to have EZA events for characters who battled for the universe, and the global translation was battled through the universe, which I guess is sort of correct still, but I mean the chapter the SSR arts are from is literally called Battle for the Universe. So, uh, you know, usual global things. But point being, uh, kind of, I mean, it made sense that these guys would EZA here, but also kind of surprising, right? I mean, I think we're getting Super Vegito for anniversary, but after that, I, I really hope we get Kid Buu sometime, but like, you gotta understand, they are really, really, really low on things they could do for Majin Buu Saga for quite a while now. So I mean, we'll see. But it's crazy that this guy's easying before we actually got to LR Kid Buu. All right, though. We're going to start off with Kid Buu here, and we're going to go into Goku afterwards. Obviously, at the end, we will be, doing some defense calcs. I'm pretty excited. But yeah, let's just jump right in and see just how crazy these guys are going to be. All right, what do we got here? So, uh, Battle of Fate or Majin Buu Saga, Key 3, 170. I mean, that's pretty decent. I mean, they're all these sort of TRs are all pretty competent leaders at this point. I mean, obviously 200% is what you want, but I mean, if you need him for something, he'd work. Although I do think we're probably about to get some power creep, so including leader skill power creep. So we'll see. Here we go though. Started turn, key 3 attack and defense plus 250%, plus an additional attack and defense plus 40% with each attack performed, up to 160%. Launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. High chance of performing a critical. Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah. Reduce damage received by 20%. Now hold on. I do want to actually. I am curious. I'm gonna pull up on my phone here so I can directly see. It has been quite a while since I've taken a look at these guys. Okay, yeah. Most of the stuff is just gonna be new. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 40% up to 120%, an additional damage reduction of 10% up to 30% per Majin Buu, or excuse me, Majin Power or Majin Buu Saga category ally on the team. So 50% damage reduction, and that's the 120% goes to start a turn. So I mean that's 370%. He's got 160%, phase 2 build up. Plus an additional defense plus 100%, an additional damage reduction of 20% before the character receives an attack 6 times in battle. 70% damage reduction and 100%, so 470% phase 1. 70% damage reduction. Now, that is a very important detail before the character receives an attack 6 times in battles. Um, his. Oh my god, wait. So his active is when there is a Majin Buu Saga category enemy or after the character receives an attack 6 or more times in battle once only. And he gets a permanent 20% to attack and defense for the rest of battle. And that is a separate phase, so I mean that 20% is really powerful. It is, worth more overall than that, like defense 100%. So, and if you're fighting a Majin Buu Saga enemy, you could just proc that immediately, and okay. Uh, Crazy. Recovers 20% HP at the end of turn in which an attack was received. He already had that. Nullifies unarmed super attack, which is a really good effect. Nullifies unarmed super attacks directed at the character for 3 turns from the character's entry turn. Great chance of nullifying unarmed super attacks directed at the character starting from the 4th turn from character entry. What the hell? He just has guaranteed nullification? Okay. And then it goes to great chance. Uh, greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause immense damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy. Okay. Oh, this guy is... Wow. Did they give him enough? I mean, he's just... You can slot 1 this guy. I mean, he was just a slot 2 before. You can slot 1 this guy. I mean, you want to do it all the time, obviously, but like... I mean, 70% damage reduction. Obviously, it does fall down to 50%, but this guy actually seems pretty damn good. I mean, 370%, you're building up to phase 1. You have the 160% phase 2. You have the 20% from the active. Depending on how many supers you do. I mean, I have an additional build on mine, Kid Buu, but he can do up to 3. You're probably likely gonna do like maybe 2 though. It's RNG though, because that's only a high chance of going with super attack. I mean, I would have liked another additional on him potentially. To maybe that's a bit greedy, but I do think we're gonna get power creep here very soon. So I do think it might have been a better idea to give him at least a guaranteed super. Because these guys did age out very quickly upon release. But I do gotta say, I mean, this just looks crazy. It really does. He's gonna be insane. I don't think there's any way they could like age this out pretty quickly. I mean, we'll see, but I mean, he's got everything. I mean, he's got a high chance from a crit, 70% damage reduction. I mean, he doesn't have dodge, but I mean, he has this guaranteed nullification. Like he is actually pretty insane. Okay, I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I don't have like Buhan, uh, the new one, obviously, but I do still have my Aunt Boo. So, all right, that's pretty exciting. I'm glad they gave him some love. All right, now the character I'm really I figured Kid Buu would be good. Now, when Super Saiyan 3 Goku came out, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, he was good, but he aged very quickly. He was a very huge victim, unlike Kid Buu. I mean, Kid Buu was a victim, but his was more of a team issue. This guy, I think we could see some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, we'll see, right? But I think he has actually a really good chance of being pretty impressive here. I feel like they're gonna go like dodge on him, but we'll see. But yeah, without further ado, here we go. His is pretty short. Battle Fate, Accelerated Battle, Key 3, 170. Key 2, an attack and defense plus 200%. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 200% when performing a super attack. Launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. Great chance of performing a critical hit. Plus an additional key 2 and defense plus 200% and guards all attacks when HP is 77% or more. I'm sorry. Wow. It's very simple but very powerful because I can see the SA effect here too. Greatly raised attack and defense for 1 turn. Immense damage enemy, high chance stunning. This is actually insanely powerful. What they okay? Because you got to think that this is just his act. It's an active skill to transform Super Saiyan 3. It's 77% or less, right? So you have this until you're ready to transform. It's not like, for one turn from the start of, appearance, you get this bullshit, and then, you're on your own. No, you just have this until you're ready to transform. That is very, very powerful. And I do believe, I can check here. Super Saiyan 3 Goku before had a sort of turn restriction. Yes, so he did become weaker after the first 6 turns from character's entry turn. So this is very possibly a thing where, maybe you want to stick in Super Saiyan 2 a bit longer to preserve Super Saiyan 3. Although, I mean, this guy is ready to transform from the third turn from the start of battle, I believe it is. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see what the turn restriction is now. But even then, I mean, your buffs would be active until like turn 9 bare minimum, and this guy you might just want to be pretty easy to just like transform him immediately and be very powerful. Let's see though. This is a really good baseline. Oh, okay. Yep. Here we go. Key 3 attack and defense plus 300%, plus an additional attack and defense plus 200% when performing a super attack. Launches 2 additional attacks, each of which has a high chance of becoming a super attack. Guards all attacks for 1 turn from the character's entry turn. Plus an additional key 3, attack plus 100%, and defense plus 200% when attacking. A great chance of becoming a critical hit for 6 turns from the character's entry turn. Yep. Plus an additional attack plus 50% when attacking. High chance for a critical hit starting from the 7th turn from character's entry turn. Like I said, that'd be in there. Chance of evading enemy attack, including super attack, plus 5% up to 25%, and reduce damage received by 5% up to 25% with each super attack performed. That's a permanent buildup. Chance of evading enemy attack. What? Hold on. Plus 5% up to 25%, and reduce damage received by 5% up to 25% with each turn passed. What? Uh, so interesting. Mass. Uh, is that uh? What are you doing there, Goku? How does that essay affect, buddy? I think that's just like 1 turn, right? That I don't think that's a stack. I need to check though. Let me just let me look into this real quick, just on the side here. um, because I didn't know that. I don't think he stacked before, and I mean I'm looking at the effect here. It is written greatly raise attack, raise defense for 1 turn. Before, so that's very likely just a buff version. Obviously, it's a buff version of that, but what I'm getting at here is I don't believe he stacked before, but I actually don't know for sure, if I'm being honest. So I do need to check that. Because if that is a permanent effect, I yeah, no, no, no. Okay. As far as I'm aware, so I mean there would be like I did want to make sure, but usually a good way to tell, they'll put like a comma here. So it'll be like massively raise attack, comma, and greatly raise defense for 1 turn. It'll be something like that. Or like massively raise attack, comma, greatly raise defense for 1 turn. Cut out the end. But yeah, that's not stacking. I did need to make sure because they did just give massively raise to someone, so it was possible. But no, that's just within the turn. But I, this guy is he good enough? This is really odd though. Um, really odd. I mean, you could have this built up not on your first turn, but by your second turn. I'm really curious. So he doesn't have a baseline at all of either of these stats. It's all build up. It takes 5 turns to build up though, and his buff is gonna go away. Um, so long as you're keeping him on rotation after his third turn. So he'll have 15% damage reduction dodge here. This should be fully built up. This is an interesting way to keep him relevant, though. It massively raised it. This is insane. Even though it's only within the turn. I mean, these started turn stats and this. I mean, this goes down obviously. So you're gonna do less damage over time. But the trade-off there is, I mean, even though you do lose this 200% defense, it doesn't really matter. I mean, sure, it's powerful, right? But I mean, I'd take 50% and dodge and damage reduction um, over the 200% defense any day here. And I mean, you could get up to 4 supers, right? Because 2 additionals, each which is a high chance. Was that a medium before? It was. This, wow. And he's guarding all attacks for his first turn to, give him a little bit of a leeway while this ability isn't active. I, whew, that, okay. I'm actually, this isn't, wow. Battle to protect tomorrow. Yeah, you're gonna protect tomorrow like this, Goku. I tell you what. Holy shit. Is he good enough? I'm like still blown away by this. He, I mean, they're both really really good, but like, I mean, you just directly compare the stats. Now, I do think Kid Buu might actually have higher actual stats. Um. Oh wait, he has higher HP, but Goku has higher of the other two, I believe. They're roughly the same on attack, but Goku has higher defense. And another thing is, it's. I mean, you'd want to run him with these characters anyway. This isn't a real negation. I mean, I guess if you're running him on like demonic power, like Glorio's team, I mean, you could maybe have some issues there. But I mean, his optimal setup is always going to be like the Buu sort of, with all of his links anyway. And plus, I mean, you could easily get enough. I mean, because it counts himself. So you really just need 2 of these, because it'd say, uh, you know, other characters or whatever, but it doesn't. So he counts himself. So you will literally only need 2 other characters, to get this like built up. But Goku, he just doesn't have any restrictions at all. I mean, he has his turn thing. But to be fair, I mean, Kid Buu has a turn thing too. Well, soft turn thing. You get what I mean there with the sort of 6 attacks. Wow. Just wow. Like, I Goku looks. I mean, they both look insane, but I like Goku is just extremely impressive. I think this SA effect is like one of the best SA effects in the game. Uh, wow. Okay. Uh, yeah. I'm a little blown away here. All right. Here's I do want to cut away here. I mean, we got these guys broke down here. They both look insane. Uh, yeah, I'm going to cut away here. We'll come back. I do got these tabs pulled up already, so we can start doing the defense calcs. But I'm okay. These guys, I'm excited to see what they're gonna get up to. They're both gonna be. I think they gave them enough tools where they can survive 10th anniversary power creep, which is really really good. I mean, I guess I don't know for sure 10th anniversary is gonna power creep, but it just feels obvious to me. I mean, I guess we'll see, right? But it just feels way too obvious. But props to them for actually 2 times in a row now actually doing this. I mean, we probably bitched and moaned and complained enough as a community. Uh, I certainly partook in adding them and like, hey, what's going on here? But yeah, that's hey, you know what? That's actually Kamehameha pose. This is the exact sort of pose that that Goku has, the login character that they revealed. Uh I do think Kamehameha is gonna be the theme for 10th. We'll see though. But oh, okay, I'm rambling a bit here. I'm just so impressed as why. All right, we'll cut away. Defense calcs. Be back. All right. So we are back. Took me quite a while to do these calcs. To be honest, I know Kid Buu specifically has so many different scenarios, and technically, I still could have calced one more. I think, but it's also kind of a lot of the ones I'm referring to are kind of rare. And they get rarer and rarer, so it's like some of them I didn't the one scenario you'll see I didn't feel the need to calculate, but we'll get to that when we do. So let's start with Goku here, and I mean Super Saiyan 2 Goku. I mean he's obviously very very simple. I mean I can pull him up here again. He's this is actually probably one of the shortest passives, uh, if not even the shortest passive we've seen all. Well, I guess technically it's a new year that this guy's coming out, right? First characters of the year. Uh, but still, even by 2024 standards, hell, even 2023 standards, I feel this is actually a pretty short passive. But it's actually extremely powerful because the numbers are just really, really high. So, I mean, with guard too here, like you are safe in staying in this form. Obviously, I mean, you do want to go Super Saiyan 3 when you can, but like you don't need. It's not like like with the Super Saiyan 2s that just EZA, it's like the bases can be pretty, you know, sketch. That's not the case here. You really don't need to worry. It's like, oh yeah, we're I mean we're chilling. I'd like to be Super Saiyan 3, but I don't need to be Super Saiyan 3. It's how I feel about like this character now. Speaking of Super Saiyan 3, I mean, obviously if you couldn't tell from here, I kind of crazy. So yeah, he it's oh it's like this is literally nuts, right? Like, of course, he does get weaker over time, right? Um, but I mean, by the time you get to this point, you have 40% damage reduction and 40% dodge, or at least you should, roughly, as long as you're keeping on rotation. If not, you may have. I mean, you should probably still have all the supers, unless you were just like really unlucky. Uh, but you might even have like 35% dodge, 35% damage reduction. That being said, obviously this is quite a fall off. I mean, he is supposed to be really good during his first 6 turns. I mean, thematically it makes sense. Um, but I mean, with the dodge and damage reduction, this isn't by no means weak, right? And I mean, he does have guard this first turn as well. Like his first turn in Super Saiyan 3 might be, just because I mean he gets the 5% dodge, 5% damage reduction that first turn. I mean, depending on the supers you do, he could have up to, what, like 25% dodge damage reduction by the end of the turn. With guard, like very, 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 very powerful first turn from Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And I mean, he gets weaker, for the next 2 appearances, roughly. And then after that, he gets significantly weaker. I mean, he's building up the whole time, right? But certainly I mean, he stayed true to his sort of design. But I mean, like this is still very very insane. Like this is yeah, just let's say you get two additionals, right? 2.3 mil with 50% damage reduction. with 50% dodge. I mean, like Goku and Frieza, like type advantage. Obviously, that kills him. Now here, obviously, I mean, with guard, even without the guard, right? Uh, he would live a Goku Frieza like buffed super. But when you talk about down here, I mean, it's not happening. I mean, he could dodge actually. To be fair, I don't know. He's really 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 good. But you know his main purpose is the first like 6 sort of turns. But like I don't know. He sort of slightly changes in like how you should utilize him. But at the same time, I don't really see a scenario where I mean the early you get this guy like turn 3. This buff is until turn 9 essentially it's still active. So I mean as long as you're keeping him on rotation, that by the time this wears off, it'd be like turn 11, right? And that's if you do his thing, turn 3. If he was on turn 1, like the point being here, you're going to have this up for most, if not the entire fight. Um, if like I guess we don't know what 10th anniversary content looks like. I mean, we could have some like 20 turn fights or something, but I mean, currently, realistically speaking, you should be more or less in the state the entire time. If you get to the state, obviously you're weaker, but it's not like substantially weaker. It's like noticeably weaker, but I mean, and you're doing less damage, right? You only go down to high chance, you lose like 50% attack. Like you're weaker, not not weak, right? I mean, this form right here, I'd even say is actually, it's still better than I'd say it's better. I mean, comparatively 80% dodge, right? But this is probably still better than Int Super Saiyan 3 once you lose your buff. So he's still really good. Not really something to worry about. Now, when we're talking about this guy, there's just so much to talk about, right? It's like there's 50 things with this character, right? It's not he's different. He's probably one of the characters you could calc the most like scenarios for. And so we go down here. Funny little note here. Uh, when you start off, I mean, this is 70% damage reduction. This is your sort of normal sort of thing, right? Which is pretty decent, I'd say. Um, they do want you to sort of take advantage of slot 1, and if you feel you can. It weird way to put that. I mean, against an unarmed super, especially you can, with the guaranteed nullification, right? But it's I don't know. He's like very well designed because I feel like you can safely put him in slot 1 if you feel the need to. Well, somewhat safely. It's weird. He's really weird. Like maybe not the first turn, but the second turn. I mean, you'd be. I didn't calc like a partially built up version, but I mean, you'd be over a million defense. Um, well, close to with having the 70% damage reduction. By your second appearance, he can go in slot 1, but he's also slot 2. I don't know. He's really versatile, eh, but I don't know if he's intended. How do I don't know if he's intended for slot 1 necessarily, but he can go slot 1. I feel like is maybe the best way to put it, which is very nice. I mean, you scroll through here, and there really is a lot. I mean, we have the active turn. Well, not active turn, but you pop the active, right? You do lose the sort of 100% defense, excuse me, which is unfortunate, obviously. But I mean, you are looking higher, right? Because it just cancels out. 20% there is stronger than 100%. I did say that earlier. But I mean, as you keep going down here, I did, obviously Buhan domain. I felt like is very valid to calc for this guy. I only calced it fully built up. I didn't calc it the first sort of turn because I don't know. Like I said, he can go slot 1 and like Buhan with the Buhan sort of turn or team. Maybe you want him to go slot 1 sometimes. I don't know. I didn't feel the need, I guess. I I don't have my own Buhan, but I don't imagine if like I'm not putting this guy in slot one. Um, if like Wuhan's domain's up Wuhan's domain, so he's still gonna have. He's not gonna have these sort of active if you do it like early enough. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly here, but Wuhan's domain doesn't really last that long. So there's only certain sort of turns you can really take advantage of this sort of, if Kid Buu would have active up and post receiving the attacks and stuff. It's timing. It's a very weird timing thing. That's why I said there's a lot you can calc here. Hopefully, I'm making the point. I think I am here explaining it well. I guess I should say. Now, I did write this here. Restricted to Majin Buu Saga enemy. This whole portion below is restricted to a Majin Buu Saga enemy because that's when you can calc his excuse me, you can proc his active without receiving 6 attacks. So I mean, there's some sort of funny stuff you can do here. This is just a sort of baseline, which obviously 70% damage reduction, pretty powerful. And you keep going down here, and he with fully built up. I mean, this is with 70% damage reduction. Like he can look very very crazy. It just depends on how you play him. And obviously, I have this last one here. This one is gonna be damn near like very like almost impossible to see, but potential. And I mean, Kid Buu, he has a ton and a ton of potential. I mean, this is still with 70% damage reduction. It is possible. You're gonna have to be running him in slot 2 with very minimal attacks to see this, but it is possible. So it's like I don't know. This guy is just kind of nuts. He really is. I mean, they both are. I feel like something that first 6 turn Super Saiyan 3 is just something special. But I mean, the sort of shenanigans you can do with Kid Buu, I mean, I won't be able to do myself. I don't have my own Buuhan, but well, I guess I could run like Int Buu with Tech Buuhan. I don't know. Point being, like you can do a lot of pretty funny OP stuff with this guy. They this EZA batch is very very powerful. I'm very happy with it. But yeah, I mean, there we go. These guys, crazy stuff. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.